listen their presentation.
Alright, so starting off with who this guy actually was, there's like a whole bunch of metadata what to do, pretty standard facts. But like the main thing that he did was like he wasn't a fan of like the Aristotle philosophy, and he came up with his own like framework of understanding stuff. But like he was still cool with like medicine and math and stuff. We'll see more of that later. But yeah, he kind of like made it out the mud. He was like an orphan, but then like he became like the highest, I guess in today's term, professor at the highest college of the time in Baghdad. Pretty much stuff.
So the most important event in his career is about the spiritual crisis because that happened in 1995. That he was suffering from suddenly meltdown from his doing one of his speaking lecture, and he just so in psychology we call that imposter syndrome, but he considers it as an opportunity for him to grow in spiritually with Quran. So the syndrome is that he feel like he does not deserve all the achievement and fame he have. Therefore, he turned to Sufi for a spiritual relief with Quran. So the crisis changed everything. Even a great scholar can realize that the book knowledge alone is not enough. So he tried to explain God with feeling and heart. That is what he thinks the Quran is trying to teach us. And the main work he has done is the revival of religion science. So it's written after the spiritual crisis, and the book is really long. It has more than 25,000 pages and quoted more than 1,000 Quran verses. It's divided into the act of worship, modes of daily life, the way of predicting, and the way to salvation. So after the crisis, he didn't just return to teaching. He gave the Muslim world a really spiritual menu. It's not really something dry. It's a menu of guiding people how to really living in the Quranic way.
Alright, so we're gonna start with like kind of like a high level overview of how we like classify knowledge. So essentially, there was like two main branches: it's revealed and intellectual sciences. This idea also influenced like future thinkers like Thomas Plains, I think that's how you say his name, many years into the future. But like overall, like his most famous work, as previously stated in the slide, like kind of explains how to balance faith with reason. And we're gonna go more into this in the next slide, but like yeah, he's got some praiseworthy sciences and some blameworthy sciences. So I know it's a little abstract, but we're about to explain it right now. Alright. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to like understand this without a little bit of context. But there were some other thinkers before him, namely Ibn Sina, and that guy was like a little bit fond of like the Greek way of thinking about things, but Al-Ghazali was not. And I'm gonna give a specific example of why like he didn't like it. And this is kind of like a textbook classic example. So, suppose you have like some fire and some cotton, right? Put the fire to the cotton burns. The Greek way of thinking about this is that the burning is like an inherent property of like, the fire and the cotton. And the role of God, I guess the unmoved mover or the first cause, that's the type of Greek God there is, right? Like you guys know what that is. It's basically just like the first chain to start those laws in existence. It's not actively, in charge of the fire or whatever. Well, Ghazali was like, nah, that reduces God way too much to just being like a passive, not an active force. So he came up with a new framework on how to, characterize these things. And it's called, I can't honestly say that word, but it's the one in quotations that starts with OCC. But what's more important is like what it actually means. So instead of like the cotton burning because it's an inherent property, It burns because that's a habit of God, right? So God, at the moment that the fire and the cotton touched, ordained the cotton to burn. So like, it doesn't change the fact that like the cotton burns, right? Like either framework acknowledges that the cotton burns. But the point of this framework is that it allows for like, God to be inserted at every physical event. And once you have this framework, you can explain things like miracles easily, right? Like how did, just an example, how did Moses split the sea? Well, the usual habit of God is that, when a stick touches the ocean, it doesn't split it in half. But guess what? God can change his habits anytime. So that's how it happens. That's just an example though. And if you know some stuff about Islamic contemporary belief, there's some some schools of thought that consider the idea of laws of physics to be not a valid saying because it diminishes God's power. That's where this comes from. So that's his main work. That's his main contribution.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Sufi hermeneutics. So Sufi is a follower of Sufism who follows their inner spiritual path to grow closer to God. And hermeneutics is how a text is interpreted by someone. So he believed that the Quran was interpreted in two different meanings. The first, I don't know if I'm pronouncing right, but it's a here, which is the literal meaning, and that's the direct meaning of the text. And then batin, which is the inner meaning, so the deeper spiritual meaning embedded in the text. An example of this in the Quran is Surah 24:35, which says, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. The example of his light is like a niche within which is a lamp. The lamp is in a glass as if it were a shining star, lit from a blessed olive light. Allah guides to his light whom he wills. So the literal meaning of this is that God is the light that guides us in the universe. And the Sufi interpretation is niche equals human heart. Lamp is the literal meaning of that is faith, and then light is God's knowledge and lightning life, and darkness is our distance from God. And he says that you interpret the Quran better when you use your heart and mind, and you attain true knowledge from spiritual practice by studying the Quran. And his book used Sufi teachings so that he can explain the deeper and spiritual understandings found in the Quran. And the purpose is to bring believers closer to God and for spiritual transformation. And then how he's mentioned in the Quran is he's not mentioned in the surahs itself, but rather he's mentioned in the commentary. So an example is Surah 262. Indeed, those who believe and those who are Jews, Christians, and Sabians, whoever believes in God and the last day and does righteous deeds will have their reward with the Lord. They will have no fear, nor they will grieve. And the meaning of this is all those who believe in God and follow his word, including those of different religions, will receive their reward from God. And he interprets this by saying that God judges everyone based on their knowledge. He says those who do not follow the Islamic religion may still be saved if they never had any prior knowledge of Islamic religion. Overall, God judges people based on their strong beliefs and knowledge of the Quran. And he's using the Quran to reveal spiritual meanings of the surahs and explain the importance of inner spirituality. And that's our presentation.
Thank you. Any question? Come on, please. Anything to them? Yeah, go ahead, Maya.
What made you want to choose this topic specifically?
So I came up with this topic because, why did I come up with this topic? That's a great question. No, okay. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. The reason why is so this guy does have an outsized impact, even to this day, on Islamic philosophy. Specifically, it's getting a little niche here. If you know what Wahhabism is, I know you know what that is. I don't know if the rest of you do, but yeah. So he's a pretty influential guy. I mean, going back to what he said about habits of God and stuff. There's contemporary beliefs that even the idea of the laws of physics or any laws of the natural world is a heretical saying if you're to be a true Muslim, because you're diminishing the power of God, and it's in a sense shirk, right? You heard of this, right? Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's relevant, and that's where it came from. So 900 years ago. Yeah, that's why I chose it.
Great. Any other questions? One more, maybe? Not, that's fine. Good? Oh, great. Thank you so much. Cool. Alright. The next one, next group, please. Anybody, please. Look forward. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, you did video. Go ahead.
Ours is short.
No, you have the three of you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, please. Do you have it here? Did you
Yeah, I
send?
think I emailed it to you.
Just like today or no?
Yeah.
Oh,
Very recent.
very recently. Let's see.